recorded. So if you don't want to be seen, then please let me know. I will make sure we don't post your image on any social media. And tonight our thing is not very excited. It's about pandemic fatigue, chosen by our chairperson Sal. And Sal has been Toastmasters for quite a few years. I believe he rejoined in 2016 or 2015. And since then, he is very active, joining multiple clubs and serve top officer in multiple clubs. And last year he was the area director. No, 2 years ago he was the area director, and he was our club president last year as well. So please help me to welcome distinguished Toastmaster Sal Baloo.
Thank you, Mr. Yuhan Chen, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest, Joanne. Today our theme is pandemic fatigue, and I'm sure we're feeling it, at least a few of us are. Before I begin, I'd just like to briefly indicate to you what Toastmasters is. Not that we don't know, but just as a refresher. Toastmasters is about leadership and communication skills. And in a Toastmasters club, we provide a supportive and positive learning and experience in which members are empowered to develop those skills. That's communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Before I begin, I'd just like to do a quick round of introduction. Just go around the room, your name, and how long you've been a Toastmaster, and if you're a guest, just indicate what brought you here. So let me start off I'm going to go around the screen the way I see it. Let's start off with Leah. Let's have
Good
Leah.
evening, fellow Toastmasters, and pardon me, and our most welcome guest. My name is Leah Shane. I'm losing my voice. I've been a Toastmaster since 2013. Pardon me, I'm going to have my voice back before I do my speech. That's what I'm going to try to do. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Leah. Next to Leah is Yuhan Chen, our club president. Go ahead, Yuhan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, and the fellow members, most welcome guest, Joanne. I joined this club more than 10 years, and it helped me a lot. We met a lot of different people, new, and hopefully we have more new people who are joining our group soon. So back to Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Yuhan. Next, I'm going to ask our guest, Joanne, to unmute yourself and just give us a little bit of an introduction. Over to you, Joanne.
Hi, my name is Joanne. I'm kind of shy person, so so I think it's a good way to practice my public speech. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Joanne. You're in the right place for that.
Yeah,
I'm a very shy person too, so it doesn't look like it, but that's the way a lot of people are. So you're in very good company. Over to you, Sharon.
Thanks, Chair. Good evening, my Toastmaster fellows and most welcome guests, Joanne. I joined this club last March. It's a very friendly club, and I hope you enjoy your evening here. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Sharon. Over to Charles.
Thank you, Sal. I've been a Toastmasters for 7 years, 8 years, lost count somewhere around there. And I've been with global speakers for close to 4 years. That makes me.
Thank you, Charles. Last but not least, a very important person like everybody else here, that's Catherine. Over to you, Catherine.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guest, Joanne. My name is Catherine Chuck. I've been with Toastmasters for 5 years, I believe. And I'm 2 years with the global. Right now, I'm working on pick up my pathway and hope in this club, we have lots of speaking opportunities. So joining global speakers is one of the advantage. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And I know that Catherine mentioned Pathways, just so that everybody knows what Pathways is. It's an educational program that we use in Toastmasters. to develop your communication and leadership skills. We're now going to start. I see TJ's coming in. I don't know what, but I think we're just going to move on to the grammarian till he logs. So let's call upon Yuhan to explain the role and give us the word of the day. Over to you, Yuhan.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. As a grammarian, I have two main responsibilities. First, I will keep track of everyone's, when they speak, if they use any bad grammar or filler words, unnecessary words. And I will try to write down as many good phrases, notable words. And also my second responsibility is to introduce the word of the day, which is zang. Zang. Just tonight, the thing is pandemic fatigue. So as you can see on the screen, this word means extremely tired. For example, last night, Kansas City Chiefs looked drunk last night as they lost the game to Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Super Bowl 54. It's a pretty boring game, I think, if you watch. So please, I encourage everyone use these words when you speak or when you do the evaluation. So that concludes my introduction. Back to Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Yuhan. The next person that's going to be explaining the role of timer is TJ. But before I call upon TJ, maybe TJ, you'd like to introduce yourself because we've all gone around, and then you can explain what your role is. Over to you, TJ.
Thank you, Chairman. So, I mean, what would you like me to introduce about myself?
Who are you, and how long have you been with this club?
Okay, so I first joined Toastmasters back in late April, early May of 2020, and so I'm actually a member of two other clubs as well as global speakers, and I've taken on some other higher level roles in Toastmasters as well since then. And as far as tonight goes, my role is timer. And the reason we have a timer is we keep track of time in our meetings for a few reasons. One is to make sure that our meetings stay on time and on track. And two is when we have a certain, whether it's a prepared speech or an impromptu speech, we want to stick to the guidelines as far as time goes when we do talk, because in real life, we don't have unlimited time. We have a finite amount of time to convey our message to our audience, and keeping track of our time in meetings is one way to gauge how well we are doing with that. Back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, TJ, for the explanation of the timer's role. Now, the next role has not been filled. If anybody wants to do it, please do so. If so, I might mention a few words, but if anybody's got some thing that they want to say about this particular theme, please feel free. I'll give you... Okay, nobody wants to. So let me just indicate. Sorry, did you have something to say? Who said that? I just want to give you some idea why I chose this theme, because originally the theme was Chinese New Year, and I kind of feel bad that I changed that as chair. But I think it's a very relevant subject. A lot of people are feeling a little bit zonked because this thing we thought was going to be over in about 6 to 7 months. So at first, people couldn't believe that we were having this pandemic. They thought it was happening out somewhere else in another part of the world. And then it started coming everywhere else, and that frightened a few people. And last year, I remember I made a little poem and I recited it, and I thought it'd be over in about 6, 7, 8 months. But no, this thing keeps continuing and continuing. And now I think it's going to be around even after the vaccination. It'll be around for some time. So I've got to get used to doing Zoom and competing while I'm on Zoom, as Charles indicated. And one thing I find about any crisis is there are opportunities. And we have an opportunity to learn with this crisis. Never let a crisis go to waste. So I think there's a lot of things that I'm discovering and learning, and I'm sure you are. And when we do our table topics, I'm hoping to hear your stories on how you're coping with the pandemic fatigue. Now back to myself to do the joke of the day. And the joke of the day is related to our theme. So there was this young woman who was getting very tired of the pandemic. She wanted to find something that she could do whereby she could be socially isolated and yet enjoy that particular activity. So she came across ice fishing. She had never done ice fishing before. So she picked up some books and read up on the finer points of ice fishing, and then she heads on to the ice. And just as she's about to drill the first hole, a voice from above bellows and he says, "There are no fish under the ice." The woman is startled. Where did this voice come from? But she keeps drilling and drilling. Again the voice thunders, "There are no fish under the ice." Now the woman is shaking, but she takes a deep breath, and just as she's about to cut a new hole, the voice bellows again, "There are no fish under the ice." The frightened woman looks skywards and she says, "Is that you, Lord?" And then the voice comes back saying, "No, this is the manager of the skating rink." Back to myself. Okay, now for that little levity, we're going to go into our speeches. We got 3 speakers tonight, and I would like to, before I call upon the individual people that are going to be speaking, I'm going to call upon the evaluators. So let's see who the first evaluator is. With Charles, I don't seem to have it in this agenda. Anybody? Johan, who's the first evaluator?
I believe it's me, apparently.
It's you. Okay, Charles. Why don't you
And
introduce the first speaker, Catherine Shack?
yes. So Catherine Chuck is going to be doing a manual. Let me try this again. It's going to be doing a pathway called Visionary Communications, and this is Pathways Level 2. And this project is going to be Understanding Your Leadership Style. And within this project, she's supposed to first take a little self-assessment online, and from this result from that little assessment, she has to share with us, or at least talk with us, those leadership styles that she got from the result. And then from there, discuss her preference when she is leading other people and how she adapt. And the time will be 5 to 7 minutes. Title is "A Good Leader Should Always." A good leader should.
Fellow Toastmasters, do you believe leaders are born or made? Show hands if you believe leaders are made, not born. I saw quite a bit of you. The general statistics are 70% of people believe leaders are made. That's the reason why we are in the club of Toastmasters. The motto of Toastmasters are where leaders are made. By the leadership styles most in common, we can find 10 of them. The first one is coach, visionary, servant, autocratic, hands-off, democratic, pace setter, transformational, transactional, bureaucratic. Let's focus on the top 3. I'm one of them. Let's see which one that you can identify me. The very most popular is coach. We can find it very common in our daily life. A football coach, swimming coach, Toastmasters coach. A coach can quickly identify or recognize any individual for their strengths and weaknesses. Then they will provide a positive feedback, setting expectation to help that team member to improve and achieve the goal. If you are supportive, offer guidance instead of giving commands, value learning as a way of growing, ask guide questions, balance relaying knowledge and helping others find it themselves, self-aware, then you'll be considering to be a coaching leader. The second one is visionary. The reason why I choose visionary path is I believe I'm one of them. Visionary leaders, usually they are needed for a fast-growing organization, or in any corporation, they needed to be restructured or under the process of transformation. By drive progress and usher of the change of new ideas. Visionary leaders are forward thinker that can help team leaders to achieve their goal as a team. If you're considering yourself to be a visionary leader, you're persistent and bold, strategic, risk-taking, inspirational, optimistic, innovative, and magnetic. The third one we would like to discuss today is servant. We barely heard about that style, but those people are in our community, and we treasure them a lot. A typical servant leaders are usually lived by people first mindset, which can boost most of the team member to be loyalty and productivities in their team. By cultivate trust and to be humble and offer some of the warm ideas. If you're considering yourself to be a servant leader, you can always motivate your team, have an excellent communication skills, personal care about your team, encourage collaboration and engagement. After the three different most popular styles, I still believe leaders are made like us. That's the reason why we were here in a Toastmasters Club. There should not be a limit to be a good leader by just sticking with only one of the leadership styles. How often will you reevaluate your leadership style? It can be mixed with some. The reason why for that is for time to time and by different situation. Then you have to switch your leadership styles and adapt to the new environment. If you always reevaluate your leadership styles and can adopt to something new, congratulations, you are a good leader, just like all of us in our team. Back to the chair.
Thank you, Catherine. We're now going to move on to our second speaker, who is Charles, and to evaluate.
Can you give me a few minutes? I need a few minutes to finish Catherine's evaluations.
All right, let's give you a few minutes.
I mean, move on to Leah first.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask TJ to introduce you while you're taking a few minutes. Is that okay?
probably need a little bit more time to completely, I mean, Catherine's evaluation.
Okay, no worries. Okay, why don't you do the educational third speech? So it gives you ample time, and then we can come back. Is that okay? Okay, I'm going to call upon our third speaker, Leah Shane. Now, Leah is going to talk about chairing meetings, which you all need to do efficiently. And she's got a very interesting title here. When you are chair, how to put on a good gather. Over to you, Leah.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guest, Joanna. So, you've decided to take on the role of being a chair. You might not have wanted to do it. You might have been forced to do it. And chances are, your first thought is going to look a little something like this. What am I doing? It's like, yes, you're probably feeling the stress. Maybe you have a busy life. You have a lot of other things and other responsibilities that you need to tend to, more so than chairing a Toastmasters meeting. I have news for you. We need you. We need you to step up as chair. But I'm here today to tell you being chair is really not that problematic. It shouldn't be that much stress. There's just a few things that you're going to need to know about in order to do it somewhat successfully and with the minimal amount of stress possible. I'm going to go through a few different steps here with you and some pointers to help make our meetings so that it's not an entirely empty table. Next slide, please. When you have a party, do you want your party to look like this? Do you want to be the sad person alone with no cake? The number one thing that I cannot stress enough when it's you that have chosen or been asked to volunteer to be chair, you really need to reach out to people. Today's speech I was initially going to do as an analogy to putting on a Super Bowl party because it was just Super Bowl yesterday. But we may as well make it a birthday party. Why not? Any sort of a party. When you're having a Toastmasters meeting, think of it like a party. You want to make sure that you're not there by yourself, that you have good people around you that are coming out to help you celebrate. Fine. You want it to look something like this. It's a Zoom party. Our meetings where we learn and we develop greater communication, leadership skills. This is where we get inspiration to move on. At least I get inspiration to move on with the rest of my week. And I love it when we have a whole bunch of people. But the very first thing to make a whole bunch of people come to our meetings is that people need to know what the meeting. So you need to reach out. If for some reason you can't locate all of our members' email addresses to send them an email to say, hey, would you like to come to our meeting? We'd love to have you there. You can always reach out to our club president who has that list to give to you. Or what you can do is go on the Easy Speak. And the Easy Speak has an ability to send out emails for you to everybody who's on Easy Speak for global speakers. There's actually quite a few. And other clubs have the same thing. Next slide, please. Next, you really need to think about what kind of a theme you want to have. Every good gathering should have a theme, and Toastmasters is no exception. So when it comes time, pick something that speaks to you because there's nothing worse than coming up or having to work with a theme that doesn't talk to you. As chair, you have the power to say what the theme is. Just let other people know. The invitations. Once you've got that theme, get those invitations out. Let people like Sal, TJ, Charles, Sharon, Johan, Catherine, myself, Joanna, let us all know what is the theme. And if you can't do it, we have a vice president of public relations who can get the word out on places like District 21's Facebook page. People are here to help you. You're not alone as chair, but you need to reach out and say, I need help. Next slide, please. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go through my little checklist here. Before you chair the meeting, reduce your stress so you don't look like this by the end of it. Do people know about the meeting? Have you sent out the invitations? Make sure you send out the invitations because nobody's going to come to a party that they don't know about. 2, who is willing to do what? Party where you were serving food, but you were hoping others would bring food dishes as well. And when they didn't bring food dishes, it all fell to you. Toastmasters meeting is a little bit like that. Don't let that happen in a Toastmasters meeting. Reach out, say, hey, Charles, you give great evaluations. Would you like to be an evaluator this week? TJ, you're an amazing general evaluator. Come be general evaluator. Will you please do it? And check with them. Ask them to take on roles. We're more than happy to take on roles, but you need to let us know what you need. If you don't tell us and we don't go into easy speak, you're going to have a very difficult time filling the agenda. The theme, make it a good one. I am zonked from, I gotta tell you, the pandemic fatigue, but I'm here tonight and willing to do it. Then take a look. Is the agenda filled? And this, I can't stress this enough to you. Please go to Easy Speak. Take a look. Easy Speak has the agenda week after week, and you can see what roles are filled. If roles are not filled, reach out to people, get them to come in and take on the roles. And most importantly, we're a Zoom kind of a club. If you don't send out the Zoom link to people, they don't know where to go. So you need to send out the Zoom link. It's really important. If you can get all these pieces of the puzzle together before the meeting, chances are, come the Monday that we meet and your chair, it's going to be a little less stressful for you because you're going to have that list in front of you showing who's coming. You've been in contact. You've either been on the phone or you've been emailing them. You know who's coming. You have a good sense. You're prepared. You're feeling ready and hopefully relaxed, maybe even a little elevated because you've chosen a good theme for yourself. When it comes to the meeting itself, next slide, please. During the meeting, this is just a little checklist for you to work by, but you show up. You sent out 8 emails. You had 7 people confirm that they were going to come. When you look in Zoom, do you see those 7 faces? If you don't, I highly recommend getting on your phone, maybe using our WhatsApp group app to reach out to those members who said that they were going to be here to find out, are they coming? Are all the roles filled? Nothing worse than having to chair and having to take on 4 or 5 roles yourself. Unfortunately, tonight, I think Sal is discovering that he's had to take on 3 roles himself. It's challenging. Try to take that pressure off of you if you can. Another very important thing, when your guests do show up, and even if it's club members, say hi, welcome them. Everybody wants to be made to feel welcome at a party. And I like to think that our Toastmasters meeting are a little bit like a Zoom party. Once everybody's been made to feel welcome, has everybody been given a chance to speak? Make sure that your guests all have an opportunity to speak because hopefully they're here to hear their voices, to see themselves and to participate because participating is how we grow and how we develop. And at the end of the meeting, really important, make sure to ask our guests, hi Joanna for tonight, what did you think of the meeting? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you have a good time? And we are grateful when guests come. We need to show it, we need to express it and let them know that they are appreciated because without guests, we have no growth. We need our guests. Now, you've gone through the meeting. You've done all the roles, you've checked the agenda, everybody's spoken, you did table topics, you had the speakers come on, the speakers all showed up, the evaluators all showed up, everybody all showed up. Fantastic, great. Now that everything's done, you can start to breathe a little. I just want to give you a tip. Next slide, please. After meeting checklist, you don't have to do this, but I encourage you to think about and maybe even do it. Thank you notes. Nothing says appreciation more than getting a thank you note. So when somebody takes on a role, it's always great to say, thank you. Thank you for stepping up and for being here. I really appreciate that. People are willing to do more if they feel appreciated. Was credit given where credit was due? This in particular for the speakers, if somebody's had a speaking spot, they should get an educational credit. All of them make sure that they're getting the credit that they're due. And think about what you've accomplished. You probably were a little stressed going in. You probably had a long week. You probably had pandemic fatigue and you're feeling swamped, but you can do it. And at the end, when you realize, did I really do all that? Celebrate. It's your time to let down your hair, enjoy. You can do it. You can put on a great Zoom meeting. Reach out to the executive. We're here to help and we're here to support. Know that you are not alone. And if you take these steps, send out emails, send out invitations, make sure the Zoom link's done, make sure the agenda's done. And during the meeting, make sure everybody has a chance. And at the end, say thank you. You are going to be the host with the most. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Sal,
Thank
you're
you very
mute.
much,
Can't
Leah.
hear.
I'm sorry. I'm just thanking Leah, then we'll have you on in a minute. I appreciate what you've done. A lot of good advice there, and a lot of things I knew, but a lot of things I didn't know. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now we're going to move on to our second speaker. But before I call upon Charles, I'm going to call upon his evaluator, TJ, to introduce him. Let's welcome TJ.
Thank you, Sal. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest, Joanna. Tonight, I have the pleasure of evaluating Charles, and the title of his speech is called The Founding of So, Charles, I may need your help saying this. Tenochtitlan?
The Noshata plan. Don't
Okay.
worry if you're gonna butcher the name. I butcher names as well.
Tenochtitlan. Okay. And he is working on project storytelling number 1, the folktale. And tonight he's requested 8 to 10 minutes. So as timer, I'll give you the green at 8, yellow at 9, and red at 10.
Yep.
Now, Charles, let me tell you a little bit about him. He's semi-retired. He's a semi-retired business owner. He started financial services brokerages in his early 20s. And he's been mentored by many great women that helped him expand his business to several brokerages across the country and the major provinces and states as well. And he's become one of the most substantial financial brokerage sizes today in Canada before reaching his 30s. And in business, he's actually sought after by a lot of people for mentorship that are looking to break into the finance industry and become financially independent. Tonight, his speech, he's going to share with us the story told in Aztec legends that leads to a crucial role in the founding of a great Aztec city that would eventually become the coat of arms in Mexico's flag. So I think we're going to be treated to a little bit of history tonight, possibly as well. Without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Charles, the founding of Tenochtitlan.
You'll have to forgive me if I'm gonna be butchering names as much as TJ's gonna be butchering names. But can I get a screen share, please? So anybody see this right here? Recognize this? This is the coat of arms for Mexico's flag. The origins of how this design came through from an Aztec legend that was told. How many people here are at least familiar with that Aztec legend or heard of it? Can I get a show of hands? Going once, going twice, nobody? Oh, I think this is going to be a really good tale for me to be sharing with everybody in the club. So starting off us off with the tale, it goes something like this for the Aztec legends. Precisions leads a woman up the stairs of a great tall pyramid, and a new tribe of migrant came from a land very far away up this pyramid. At the top, no wedding is to occur because the Mexica's patron god, Huitzilopochtli, have other plans and intentions for the Mexica people. The Mexica people are from a faraway place in the northern lands, and their god, Huitzilopochtli, is the blood god, the sun god, and the god of war all together. Mexicas are wanderers. They have been long looking for a place to settle, but throughout all of their travel, they never found a place fit to be called home. Because in the northern lands, there's a place that's so cold that nothing can grow, so they can't settle there. So they only have to go down, down, and down south. There, Huitzilopochtli promised them a city, and a city for them to be called home. And in a mighty voice, Huitzilopochtli commands, I will lead you to a place where I will deem worthy. And in this place, I will take on the form of an eagle on top of a cactus, eating a serpent in the bright light. Here you will build a settlement and a great city in my honor. And from there, you will wander no longer, but you will become war conquerors. The Mexica people travel with Huitzilopochtli's sister and sorcerer goddess as their guide and companion. Her name is, oh dear God, I feel like I'm gonna butcher this. Melina Xochitl. Melina Xochitl. Melina Xochitl is a sorcerer, like I said, but she is vicious and cruel. At night, Melina Xochitl will be kidnapping men at their darkest hour, and she will be feeding them to giant poisonous spiders. And then from there, she will use insects and spiders and scorpions of all kinds to inflict pain and agony and torments on the Mexica people. One day, the Mexica people, having enough of this torment, they desperately went to Huitzilopochtli for help. And Huitzilopochtli proclaims that their people are to rule with swords and shield, bows and arrows, never with sorcery. And from there, he orders the Mexica people to completely abandon Melina Xochitl, where she awakens all alone, furious to find that the Mexica had completely forsaken her. How dare she? How dare they abandon me, sister of Huitzilopochtli, sorceress supreme? She vows revenge on the Mexica people, as this crime will not go unpunished. But she is crafty, so she settled in a nearby village and gave birth to a son. And from there, she taught her son witchcraft and sorcery at his coming of age. She taught her son of his uncle's betrayal, and her son became a powerful sorcerer and swore vengeance upon the Mexica people. That sorcerer will track the Mexica wanderers to a place called Chapultepec near the Texcoco Lake. He rallied all of the tribes nearby into a nearby area, and they are to prepare for war. And with his newfound army and position, he had this new tribe attack the Mexica people. And from atop of the mountain hill, he would use his sorcery and magic, one after another, to cause pain and agony and decimate the Mexica people. But Huitzilopochtli was watching from afar, and he orders his priests to ambush that sorcerer's son. The sorcerer looked down as in his army, assuring his victory on the Mexica people, but unsuspecting of what the priest was up to. The priest slowly crept up behind him, pinned down the sorcerer, and in the manner of a Mayan sacrificial ritual style, they took out the dagger, carved open his heart, and ripped open his heart from his chest, and present that as a sacrificial tool to Huitzilopochtli, where he is to order his priests to throw that heart as far as they can into the river, into the lake of Texcoco. The Mexica people were overrun by the many tribes, but the survivors fled to a place called Cohacan, and then there was peace and marriage between the Mexica people and the settlers of Cohacan. Huitzilopochtli learned of this. He was not happy at all that there was peace, because after all, he is a blood god who demands human sacrifice, and he's also the god of war, not of the kind for diplomacy. So he ordered his police to immediately abandon their post and show the world that they are to remember that under his rule, they are to rule with swords and shield, bows and arrows. Otherwise, Huitzilopochtli's wrath upon them will be mighty and great. Intimidated by that, every of his priests falls back into command, and he goes and prays to Huitzilopochtli on what to be doing next for redemption. Huitzilopochtli asked them to go ask for the king's daughter's hand in marriage. She will be the woman of discord and your casus belli for war. The priests will deceive the king and give the princess into becoming their queen. And as per Huitzilopochtli's order, the priest did so. And that night, they took the woman, took her to the top of the pyramid, and as they asked for the princess's hand in marriage, took her to the top of the pyramid. From there, the king was unsuspected, but the priests await the order of their god, Huitzilopochtli, who the blood god demands in sacrifice that the princess is to be sacrificed. So they did so. They lay her down on the sacrificial table in the pyramid and did so what they did to the sorcerer. In the Mayan sacrifice, carved out her heart, ripped it open, and present her heart out to Huitzilopochtli. And Huitzilopochtli took her heart and demanded that she would be flayed and dressed the boy nearby in her skin. The wedding ceremony proceeds as planned, and the princess has been flayed and her skin wrapped around the boy. And from there, her still beating heart presented to the god. After being flayed, the unsuspecting king arrived that night and went to the dark room. The dance went on as planned as per the wedding ceremony. The king thought it was his daughter. The priest lit up the room and the fires came on, and the king watched in horror. The Mexican people has murdered my daughter. They flayed her, and he immediately declared war. Take up arms, kill them all, eradicate them, erase them all from existence at once. And there, the Cohacan and the Mishakak went after skirmishes and fought in a bloody war. And they fled across the waters of Texcoco as they are overrun. At shore, where the sorcerer's heart had landed long ago, the Mexica people saw a cactus grew on the lake, and from there lit a brilliant light, never as brilliantly lit before. The lands, the trees, the animal, the people, all lit up brilliantly. And from the high skies, an eagle flew down, eating a serpent, landed on the cactus, and it was Huitzilopochtli. Here, my children, is a place called Tenochtitlan. The Mexican wept in joy and bowed down to their blood god, Huitzilopochtli, as they found a place called home. Here is the god's final command. You've built a great settlement in my name and my honor. No longer will you be wander, but you live on as conquerors with swords and shields, bows and arrows in my name. And this place, Tenochtitlan, is eventually becomes what is modern day Mexico City. Madam, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Charles. Quite a fascinating tale there. Thank you for sharing that. Now we come to evaluation time of the speeches. The first and second speeches will be evaluated. I'm going to call upon our first evaluator, Charles, to evaluate Catherine's speech. Over to you, Charles.
Thank you, Sal. I have the honor of evaluating Catherine, who I have to say did really, really well for putting up 10 big slides and planning to go over each 10 of them in great details. Even though she never managed to cover all 10 of them, she managed to cover the crucial ones and get her point across, which was great. So first of all, I like to point out a few good points that Catherine did. And one of the good points that she made was that 70-30 ratio pie chart, saying that leaders were born and made, and swiftly and nicely tied it together with what Toastmasters theme is, model, theme, whatever you call it, which is leaders are made, where leaders are made. And this is who we are, where we make leaders in Toastmasters, which is which is pretty good at the beginning. And from there, she also gave us a good suspense to have us play a guessing game on which leadership role am I? And then before she goes through visionary, which I believe had a different name under the assessment that she took, but nevertheless got her a point across. So from here, which can Catherine improve at? I believe that there was 10 big slides that she never went into in all detail, but there's no need to be able to go through in all details, but there's no need to show all 10. Just show the ones that you're going to cover, dig into those detailed ones. At least that way, I don't have to have my eyes all over the screen going which way is which and which of the styles to be looking up at. We can always look it up at the end when you save that as a reference guide at the end of your speech or after it is done. I think that's a good way to be improving from there. And the second one is she claims that herself to be a visionary. And I think an image would have a little bit, would be able to clarify that. Can anybody see this? Okay, so what she claims is that she wants to be a visionary. And in a visionary, I want to see is examples of being strategic, risk-taking, and innovative, which leads me to my next point, which is to be able to challenge Catherine on these three, because I wanted to be able to see some of this is so abstract. I wanted to be able to see real world examples. I challenged Catherine to be able to take out the abstract aspect of it, give us a real world live example of what it's like to be a visionary at home, or maybe situations or innovations where you have to do some innovation or taking risks, and tell us a story, maybe either of yourself or maybe somebody you look up to, where you hit a brick wall somewhere and then you needed to improvise or take some risks, and how did that outcome turn out? So in summary, very good structure, very good introduction, cut it to those last 3 points and take out that abstract bit, and you will have a very, very good leadership style.
Thank you very much, Charles, for that evaluation. We're now going to move on to our second evaluator. That will be TJ, who will be evaluating Charles's speech. Over to you, TJ.
Thank you, Sal. So Charles' speech, his objective was to tell a folktale that is entertaining and enjoyable for a specific age group, and use vivid imagery and voice to enhance the tale. So I noticed that Charles began off by telling a joke right at the beginning at my expense, that he was gonna hopefully not butcher them half as bad as I did, all the names and of people and places. So after that, though, I noticed that he didn't follow proper protocol for a speech, which is usually you greet your audience and the guests, welcome the guests. But throughout his speech, he did maintain, I noticed, a good balance of eye contact while also referencing his notes. So I noticed that he was cognitive of trying his best to keep contact with the audience and the camera. One suggestion is there were extended periods of time where it did seem like you were reading the story versus telling the story. So something to improve on for your next speech would be to try to remember more of it, and so that you're telling it from memory and from your heart rather than reading. He throughout his speech though, he was really excited and enthusiastic about his story, and that's one thing that really helped keep my attention throughout his entire speech. And it made it, and he was almost a little, even like a little bit animated, showing us the heart, the beating heart, and carving it out, and very vivid and gruesome story. But at the same time, he made it fun with his acting and his enthusiasm. There was good changes in his volume when he was impersonating some of the characters. One thing that I would encourage him to try to practice more on is changing his tonality as well, or his to sound more like what that person might have sounded like, because it's still, even though he did change his volume a little bit, it still sounded like Charles, right? So if you can try to sound like someone else, that's even better. One thing that I would suggest is to respect the timing guidelines. I think this project had original time of 7 to 9, and then you asked for an extra minute, which, in our club, I guess we don't really have a problem with that, or I didn't as your evaluator. But your timing for your actual speech was 11 minutes and 23 seconds total. So it was even well over the 10 minutes and 30 seconds that we gave you. But I didn't bother to cut you off. Like I said, it was really entertaining. Um, when I typically think of folk tales, I think usually folk tales, at least to me, they have like a lesson or a universal truth to them. I failed, maybe it was just me, but I failed to see that either of those in this story. So just something to keep in mind. It was a great story, but and it did have a lot of folklore to it. But yeah, I mean, that's just something that I noticed. It didn't have a takeaway really for me. But other than that, he did a great job. I learned a lot about. Now I know when I see the Mexican flag, I'll know exactly where those bits and pieces of it all come from, and that's going to be thanks to Charles.
Thank you very much, TJ, for that very detailed evaluation. Now I would like to ask our timer if you have time for a break, 5-minute comfort break. How are we doing? 8:09. I think we should probably be able to get a break right on time there.
Yep.
And once the break is over, could you let us know that the 5 minutes are up?
Sure. We're a little bit ahead of schedule right now.
Okay.
Our break was scheduled to be on the 14 mark. Right now it's 8:09. Do you want to?
Well, I thought we could
come back
have some more table topics and just have a 5-minute break. It's going to have more table topics, participation. But I'll defer to whatever people want. But I would like to see more people speaking in table topics, if that's okay with everyone.
Sounds good.
Works
5
for
minutes.
me.
All right, let's have a 5-minute break, and then you could maybe call us back after 5 minutes.
Thought I just give everybody a reference that I'm using notes because I didn't want to try and over the top butcher the name. I know I was going to butcher the name because I'm not familiar with Aztec language, and I'm trying to rewrite it in my own best interpretation, or at least my own words. So trying to reference those notes helped me not butcher those names as bad.
Oh, you gave me lots of fodder for tonight's quizzer section. Thanks, Charles.
Hey, Charles, you have a better eye contact this time.
Well, I moved the setup a bit, kind of.
Good job. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah,
it's not the most perfect one, but it's the one that I guess I can work with for now.
Since you are using Zoom for the competition, then you have to, sometimes you have to have eye contact, right?
Yeah, that's what I was told. And they told me how I can reset up or at least move my camera so at least it gives a little bit better eye contact. Not in this club, somewhere else out there. Because somebody had a similar setup to my setup.
Oh, I see. But it's really hard for you to especially for myself, I put my note in front of my screen. And sometimes I have to look up for the camera.
Sometimes you can put it up on your screen, but if it works better where you can look down and then up or somewhere
Look
else.
down, it looks really bad, like just see the forehead.
Well, you can go with whatever works. If yours is because your camera is like right in front of you, then yeah, put it up on your screen. But if you're more similar to me, where it's like your camera is like on the side, it's much better that you put your notes close to there.
Do you use auxiliary camera?
Auxiliary?
Yeah. Do you use the second, like the camera setup at the side?
Yeah,
Or
I
do you
use
want
an auxiliary camera because I don't have a monitor with a camera attached like a laptop. I don't use a laptop. I'm using a desktop, which is why the monitor doesn't have a camera.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And I didn't get one of these, what do you call it, Logitech cams, where you can just put it on top of your monitor and you can just like, you
Yeah.
know, tilt it around.
You know what? I just visit the website of TI today, and
Yeah.
there is a camera on sale. It's $38. I think it's in US. It's a like standalone camera with a mic.
Yeah, that can work if you're not over the top and you just needed a camera. That's a good one. But for myself, since I already have this Logitech one that I'm used to, I might as well stick with it. I don't see the need to change it unless I'm really heavy into doing like streaming.
Oh, right, it's true. So how many contests that you've been in this year?
Let
Like
me
how many
see.
clubs that you have like signed up for a contest?
I got one in international that I'm still in the game for. I got one for evaluation that Yuhan asked me to do. And I got one for table topics.
Good
And I don't know where the area director is for table topics because they told us the date, but they never got back to us after 2 weeks.
Oh, in District 21, you mean?
No, District 21 doesn't do table topics.
Oh.
It would be nice. Maybe you can take that up to what's her name? Jia Dong, something like that.
I didn't hear from you for quite a while. Believe she's so busy.
Are the 5 minutes up now? I think they are, because it's now close to 8:14. We had started the break at 8:09. I'd like to get more people involved in table topics. So let's move on. I'm going to call upon our table topics master to explain what the role is, and then call upon people. Let's welcome Yuhan Chen.
Now, timer isn't back yet.
Oh
That's
dear.
okay. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I just renamed myself. You can see my name is Table Topic Master. So since we have new guest for table topic, the purpose is to practice speaking without preparation, speaking on your foot, and the process is I will ask some questions which is related to the theme, and it could be anything. And then I will pose the question first. Then I will pick one of the audience to come up the stage to speak. And my suggestion is, and the time limit is 1 to 2 minutes. So you will see green light at 1, yellow at 1:30, red at 2 minutes. So and the timer is our TJ. So if you are not familiar with the Zoom meeting, you can pin on there are 3 dots on TJ screen. You can pin the timer. Click pin, then you will see the timer on the first will be bigger on your screen. And the theme tonight is pandemic fatigue. And before I go post to meet the question, I would like to ask our guest, Joanne, would you like to participate. I won't ask the first question to you, but I will ask you later. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the first question is, oh, and also we have one table topic evaluator, Sharon, who will provide the feedback by the end of this session. So my first question is this. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I think not only in Canada, in many countries, we have a shortage of toilet paper. So what do you think about this? Why do you think it's stupid, or do you think it's reasonable? People very panic about toilet paper at the beginning of pandemic. So what's your thought about the toilet paper during the beginning of pandemic? So I would like to ask, I think I'll ask Sharon first, since she hasn't speak yet. Sharon, would you like to answer this question? Then I will evaluate you. I will evaluate you.
Thanks, Yuhan, for the questions. Well, it's a very bizarre questions, but then it's also a very bizarre behavior that people panicking and then to buy toilet papers. I think it's one of the reasons is that because it's the pandemic that nobody, like most of the people haven't experienced in their lifetime. And they are afraid that because there will be a shortage or stop productions of the toilet paper, and they use toilet paper every day. So that's why they panic and then turn to purchase it. And the government hasn't done enough actually to calm down people. And it's at the very late that the government told the people that, or the industry told the people that they have enough supply chain of the toilet paper. So you could see now people won't panic, even though it's a third or fourth lockdown. So in the end, overall, it's largely determined to the policy as well as the guidance from the governments. If the governments can provide a very strict and clear guideline to the people, this could not only to avoid situation like shortage of the toilet paper, but could also make people peace and calm during the pandemic, and also can make the business more prosperous even under the pandemic. You see now lots of those SME go bankrupt. Thanks. Back to you, Chair.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. And thanks for providing some suggestion about this craziness. I think that right now, I think we don't have any problem buying toilet paper anymore. So hopefully we will never have this kind of craziness happen again. So my second question is this one. So I think right now wearing face masks is right now is pretty much very common. It's also part of the government's policy. So my question is, do you think that even after the pandemic is over, we should still wear masks outside whenever we are sick, or just we should wear more often even the pandemic is over? So I think I would like to ask our member, Catherine. I think she's the best person to answer this question.
Thank you, Yuhan. Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Mask, a new normal. Most people are sunk to have it on their faces every day. But reality, we need that. In Asia, most likely in Japan, when people get sick, they will wear a mask to protect others. They are not protecting themselves. They're protecting others by getting the virus from them, which is a very good manner. I will see most of people in the world will adopt it. And also, this is kind of a fashion. I have different colors mask and can match up with my outfit every day. You can tell by the Queen Elizabeth XII, the second, I mean, the 12th is not yet. She wears different masks with the same fabrication of her outfit, just like their hats. I would love people wearing masks, even though after the pandemic. It's more like the tattoo or something you can identify yourself and have fun, just like having a smiling face when you were not really happy. People won't know what is your true emotion. So by the question, if I would agree with wearing a mask after the pandemic, absolutely, I have my vote. Thank you.
So thank you, our second table topic speaker, Catherine. And we'll move on to a third speaker. The question is about quarantine. I know probably all of you know right now the Canadian government have new rule about anyone arrive from another country, you need to quarantine at least 3 days in the hotel. And so do you think this rule is reasonable, or do you think even we should have this rule much earlier? Or do you think it's too much? It's just quarantine at home, it should be enough? Well, I would like to ask TJ, what do you think about this new policy? I can time you for this one.
Okay. Thank you, Table Topics Master. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest, Joanne. Do I believe that the quarantine policy is reasonable? Absolutely not. When it comes to travel, I mean, if you're sick and you need to quarantine, no problem. If you're having slight symptoms, you get tested positive, you need to quarantine, yes, 100% I agree with that. But I think your question also alluded to travel restrictions when you come back, and I just don't see the need for that. Like, what does it matter if I'm here or in another country? If I have no symptoms of it, then, you know, but maybe that should also depend on what your mode of transportation was. Because if you're in an airplane, well, then you're confined in a small area with a lot of other people. And sure, there's a chance that if someone on that plane had COVID, it was highly transmissible, especially in an enclosed environment where there's a lot of circulation and the proximity to people is really close. But then again, everyone on the airplane wears face masks. And I don't know, I haven't been on an airplane, but I don't think they're letting people sit beside each other anyway. They're probably still following the 6 feet rule. So if you wanted to play it safe, sure, have it only for that. But if, you know, we should be allowed to travel to other parts of the country and even to the States, right, if we want to. But should we be required to quarantine once we're back from that if all I did was take my car across the border? No, I don't agree with that at all. But you know what, as a good citizen, I will keep on following and agreeing with what the government says, because I do realize that I'm not the prime minister, I'm not the health minister. Not everyone is going to agree with everything, but if we can all agree to just follow the rules, then I think we'll all be better off. Back over to you, Table Topics Master.
So thank you, our third speaker, TJ, and thanks for sharing your thought about the new rule about travelers quarantine rule. So my fourth question is about this one, about washing your hands. Right now, I think we are washing our hands much more often than before. So my question is, How many times you wash your hand right now? How many times you wash your in average compared to before pandemic? And so I think it's a very simple question, and you can evaluate any your thought about washing hand. Does washing hand really help to eliminate the pandemic? So I would like to ask our guest, Joanne, would you like to share your thought, anything about washing your hand?
Yes, I wash my hand very often, even after pandemic. So I wash my hand. I remind myself I need to sing a happy birthday, right? For twice, and then I make sure I wash my hand pretty clean. And I use the running water to wash my hand. And later I use like a dry towel paper to wash my hand, make sure my hand is super, super clean. But damn it, I need to open the door so I know my hand will be dirty again. So once I get to my desk, I will have sanitizer to wash my hand again. So I think I'm pretty good at washing my hand, and I also find out the benefit. You keep your hands so clean, so you make sure you don't touch your nose and your mouth. Yeah, and I find when people are thinking, they like to do this, right? So also I wear mask when I on my desk. So yeah, so I think that's a pretty good idea. Just remind yourself to wash your hand as much as possible. Once you feel you touch something, you're not quite sure you have been touched. Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you so much for our guest and for your table topics. So move on to my last question is about the social distancing. I believe the moose could be more than 2 meters. Anyway, so about the pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic, do you have any challenging to adapt to the social distancing, or you have no problem at all about social distancing so far? I would like to ask Charles, do you have any challenging adapting to a social distancing or not at all?
Come to think of it, I kind of come to terms with it way long before. Let's go back to 2020 February, which is 1 year ago from today. During this time, it is similarly close to Chinese New Year. Guess what happened? What are we expecting before Chinese New Year? Somebody told us that somebody in China warned the whole world that this bit of virus thing going on is going to cause a whole disruption around the world. And somehow I did doubt that he was going to be wrong, but somehow we did prepare. We need to be able to prepare for that, because as the months go by, March came, everywhere became lockdown. April came, we have to be able to set house rules. May came, it's all hands on deck, where I can't even travel, and May has to be working around the clock for 24/7 with a lot of biotech companies. So with that come in place, this is more than enough signs to knock me in the head to say, yeah, I have to be able to come up to terms with that, even though I don't like the whole social distancing thing. But for somebody who is exposed and constantly researching in labs for the COVID vaccine, she is way more exposed than anything else. So I have to be able to make sure that within our family, social distancing is always essential. So with that being said, am I having a problem with social distancing till this day? No. How about in the future, going into 2022? Kind of not, because the moment she turned my whole extra spare kitchen and living room and computer room into a laboratory, I kind of knew that this is going to happen. And this is the kind of change that I have to be able to adapt to.
So thank you so much, Charles. And I would like to thank for your wife's contribution to this very challenging and very beneficial for our developing the scene. So that concludes all the 5 speakers. Before I move on to a table topic evaluator Sharon, I would like to evaluate Sharon's table topic because she was the first speaker. She was asked about the toilet paper, and I like Sharon's smile. She always smile a lot during her presentation, and I like her suggestion by the end of her speech to for the suggestion for the government should have some kind of regulation about buying essential products. My suggestion for her table topic is I found her pacing to be better. Sometimes I felt she still at times spoke a little bit too fast. If we can kind of pause and using the pause to enhance the speaking difference or use to make the speech more dynamic, that will make her presentation even better. So overall, I like her speech and her instruction. So right now, I would like to call Sharon for her table topic evaluation for the other 4 speakers. Please help me to welcome Sharon.
Thank you, Yuhan. First, I would like to evaluate Catherine. Catherine, the topic is after pandemic over, we will wear mask. You use the word of the day, and I like your smile, as well as you use the example of Japan to illustrate your point of view. I don't have any other suggestions because you have done perfectly. For TJ's, it's about the new policy of quarantine. I know it's a bit challenging because it's kind of controversial topics these days, even now on Twitter. I thought you were going to talk about the 2K fit the charge for the quarantine, but instead you talk about the travel restrictions. Anyway, I'd like you to give more, like speak while smile, so as to like engage the audience. For Joanne, the topic is washing hands. I like your smile as well as the gestures. For the first time you participated in our table topic, I think you have done great. For Charles, the question for you is, do you feel challenging to adapt to social distancing? I like the pace of your speak as you go on, but I think you need to manage the tight control because it almost red. Also, try to face the camera. That's all for my evaluations. Back to you.
So thank you, Sharon, for your very concise and also very positive evaluation for our member and guest. So that concludes the table topics. I would like to ask the chairperson to take over.
Thank you very much, Yuhan, for this very exciting table topic session. We're now going to get into the evaluation side of things. We've listened to speeches and speeches have been evaluated, table topics has been evaluated. Now let's see how we did in all the other roles. So the first person I'm going to call upon is our grammarian Yuhan Chen to see how we did in terms of speech and grammar. Over to Yuhan.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought tonight everybody, I don't think anyone is drunk tonight because I hardly can find any filler words or really bad grammar from everybody. So well done. So in terms of word of the day, I think Sal used at least I think once or twice. Leah used twice. Catherine used once. I didn't miss anyone else. I think that's what I got. For notable words, I like Catherine emphasized the slogan of our Toastmasters: leaders are made. So leaders are made. So, So I think that's everything I have today. So back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Johan, for that evaluation. We have one thing we learn in Toastmasters is about listening skills. How well do you listen? And we're going to find that out when I call upon Leah, who's going to quiz us and find out how well we are listening. Welcome, Leah.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guest, Joanne. So the point of doing the quizzer is to make sure that you have been paying attention and listening all night long. I ask each and every single one of you at this point in time, please unmute yourself. I'm going to start asking questions. If you know the answers, shout out the answers. Don't hesitate, don't hold back, just throw them out there. First, I'd like to start with Charles's speech and some of the more difficult names that were said in the speech. Who was the malicious and cruel character in his story? Anyone? Anyone? No?
Melina
have-
Shatito.
I've got Melinda Shishino.
Melina Shochita.
Yeah, that
I'm butchering it.
there were some really hard names to say in there. Okay. Catherine's presentation from today. She saw herself as a specific leadership type. What leadership type did she see herself as?
Visionary.
Charles, you were the evaluator. It was supposed to be somebody else who answered.
Visionary.
Okay. My lips are sealed.
Okay.
Visionary.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And in Catherine's speech, there was a pie graph that she showed. Which one was 70%?
Leaders are made.
That is right, Sal. If I had chocolate, or presents, I would give them to you right now. Who is the youngest, newest member to our club in the round of introductions?
Sharon.
That's right. But I think it went to I couldn't tell if it was between TJ and Sharon. I had them tied, actually. Sharon,
TJ.
TJ?
Sharon.
TJ is the newest.
TJ?
Yeah, TJ.
Oh,
TJ is the newest member and probably the youngest.
Not the youngest. Just
Gonna
look
go
that
with
way.
TJ?
So
High
you're-
five to you. All right. So now, in Sharon's evaluation of Joanne's table topics, what two things did she really like about what Joanne said or did?
She liked the smile. I
That's
got that
one.
right.
What's the second one? What's the second thing? Smile? Gestures. Gestures was the second one. Okay, I'll try to make these questions a little bit easier. In my speech, what did I say you needed to do in order to start having a good Toastmasters party?
Welcome.
And before the party starts, what do you need to do?
attend?
Invite.
Invite.
Some
You
friends
cannot have
get-
a party without people knowing that you're having a party. That
I
is
heard
right.
get some friends, but close enough.
That's a good point, Charles. Okay, next, in Charles's story, not saying any names this time, who pinned down the sorcerer and ripped out the heart? Not a name, but a rule within society.
Social distancing?
Say that again, Sharon?
Social distancing.
You said the name. I'm looking for the priest. The priest was the one who took out the heart and sacrificed it. Okay, last question. Okay, so you're saying last question to me right now. In Sharon's table topics, she said we are in either one or the other, of lockdowns for COVID-19. Which numbers did she give us that we were in lockdown for?
4.
Or there was another one. It was 4 or 3. The third lockdown or the fourth lockdown, but basically we're just in super long lockdown. And on that note, I would like to turn the table back over to our chair. Thank you very much for playing along, everybody.
I heard 4, but yeah.
Thank you very much, Leah, for that very invigorating quiz session. Got everybody awake. Moving on to our timer, I'm going to call upon TJ to see how well we did with the timing. Let's welcome TJ.
Thank you, Sal. Everyone did really good with their timing, except me because I forgot to record Charles' timing for his evaluation. But we had Catherine's speech. I clocked in at 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Leah's speech was 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Charles was 11 minutes and 23 seconds. Charles' evaluation, like I said, I totally blanked out. I was just listening to his evaluation, and then halfway through, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be timing this, aren't I? My evaluation was 3 minutes and 17 seconds for Charles' speech. Sharon's table topics was, Sharon was 1 minute 53 seconds. Catherine was 1 minute 51 seconds. I was 2 minutes. Joanne was 1 minute 12 seconds. Charles was 2 minutes. So I'm really happy to see a lot of us getting up to that close to the 2 minute mark. Joanne is a guest, so it's totally understandable. You know that she talks as much as she wanted to, but one thing we do try to do is we try to at least get to like the yellow light or the red light. But great job either way to everyone. His evaluation of Sharon was 1 minute 3 seconds, and Sharon's evaluation of everyone was 1 minute and 30 seconds. That completes my timing report.
Thank you very much, TJ, for that detailed timing report. I know we don't have a general evaluator, but if somebody and anybody wants to just give an impression or pick on a person, or they have something burning they want to say about the meeting, please do so now. This is your opportunity for feedback, but keep your comments fairly short, less than a minute if you can. Anybody wants to say anything about any role that was done? Yes, Catherine.
I would suggest we do a round robin, since we only have a few people right now. Let's say about one thing that we really liked for tonight and one thing we have to improve.
And I like to add that if you'd like to pass, just say I like to pass, because I don't want anybody compelled to do something just to fill the time. That's why I'm trying to avoid this. So if you feel that you don't want to say anything, and by all means do that. So let's start with Catherine.
The one thing that I like tonight, I see all the smiling faces, even though we don't have lots of members and guests tonight. We quite enjoy for tonight's meeting. One thing I would suggest to be improved, that the meeting agenda should be maybe post or like pop up at the beginning, so we can like at least for the guests, then they don't have email, and then they can see the meeting agenda for a minute or so.
Thank you, Catherine. Charles, do you have anything to add or say?
Well, what I like is how we managed to be really efficient and get everybody through in table topics. We have 7 table topics, close to it at least. And we also did 3 speakers, which I haven't even seen for a while. The only thing I wanted to see improving is the theme here is really, really bland and dry. I prefer something interesting, like favorite movies, favorite characters, favorite play, favorite whatever.
Thank you, Charles. Don't come up with favorite pandemic. That won't be good. Moving on to TJ. Do you have anything else to add or say? Or
Yeah, I like that we had an education session this meeting. I think it had been a while since we've done one of those, and seeing more of those regularly, I think would help all the members and the club. And I'd like to see I'm glad that we had a guest tonight, Joanne. Thanks for coming out.
thank you, TJ. Moving on to our quizzer, Leah. Do you have anything to add or say today?
Mr. Chair, I think I would like to open a poll first, so everybody can vote for the best speaker, best evaluator, and best table topics. So at the same time, we can continue the round robin general evaluation.
Sure.
So
I'd just like to say, Sal, as chair, I thought you did a really good job with modifying on the fly at the last minute with Charles saying, I need some extra time. Can we just go over to speaker number 3? And you totally adaptable for that. And that was really wonderful to see. That was really nice. And also having to take on those extra roles that didn't get filled in, unfortunately. Overall tips for improvement. It'd be nice if we had a general evaluator moving forward, but we also at this point in time, our numbers are a little bit lower, but once maybe we get more numbers, then we can have a general evaluator again.
Thank you, Leah. I think that's very good ideas there. Need more people. How about you, Han? Do you have anything you want to add, say, or?
Yeah, I think I just opened the poll. So this is a new feature we will use in our future meetings. So please choose the best speaker, best evaluator, best table topics. We still have 2 people need to vote. So after now, I will present a certificate to those people. And in terms of our meeting, I think we are 1 minute late, so it's okay. But next time I will try to start the meeting on time. And also I encourage members to show up a bit earlier if in case we have more guests, so we can greet a guest. I think most people joined tonight only less than 10 minutes to the meeting. So if we can join earlier to chat, to see how everybody's doing in the past 1 or 2 weeks, that would be great. So back to the meeting.
Thank you very much. Some very pertinent comments there. Now, we haven't heard from the most important person in our meeting, and that would be our guest. Joanne, do you have any feedback for us? What did you think of the meeting?
It's very learning a lot tonight. I learned different topic about the leadership and the story, and yeah, a lot of stuff on my mind, in my brain, and yeah, I'm pretty like it. Yeah.
Thank you. We're very pleased to have you. I forgot one person, and that is Sharon, because you're not on my screen, so I didn't see you. So Sharon, have you got anything to share with us?
Thanks. So I think tonight's topic is a little bit down. I prefer more festive topics because we are in lockdowns and it's not good for mental health to have a downside topic. But anyway, I think the overall we have pushed through the meeting quite well. And if anybody has any issues or like, because we are in a pandemic situations, you can always reach out to some of the free councils online. Like they will have a virtual mental health support during COVID-19 on the government of BC websites. So if anyone wants somebody to talk to, you can always reach out, and it's never too late or it's never too old to talk to somebody, especially in this time. Thanks. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Sharon, for that feedback. Now we've got, do we have the results of the poll there yet, Johan?
Yeah, we have a result.
All right. Go ahead, tell us what's happening.
So tonight.
Okay. So first, I would like to congratulate. We have 3 winners tonight. So give me a second. So the first award, the best speaker award, goes to Leah.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
And next, our best evaluator goes to TJ.
Yay!
And our best table topic speaker goes to
Dun, dun, dun.
Catherine. So congratulations, Leah, TJ, and Catherine. And oh yeah, I forgot. Also, I believe Sal just complete his level 5 of presentation mastery award.
Thank you. I forgot to bring my certificate, but thank you for.
Yeah. So
Fantastic.
congratulations, Sal. That's the last level of a pathway program.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful job there, Sal.
Thank you. As long as I didn't have you as evaluator, I can complete everything. I'm just kidding there. You're a great evaluator. Thank you so much for that. We're
I'm
gonna
not
move on.
I'm not that crazy.
Don't worry about it. I'm just pulling your leg there. I'd like to move on now and see if there's any club business. Mr. President or anybody else on the executive?
Do we have a date on when the area contest is? An exact date and time.
Yes, so I think after I message all the members, we didn't host the club contest. However, we have Charles, who is willing to represent our club in the evaluation contest, and John Morris will representing our club in the international speech contest. And those two contests, those two members will compete in Area 42 contest on Saturday, 9 a.m. on February 27. February 27. I don't have a link yet. I'm waiting the area director Praveen to send me the detail. Once I receive detail, I will forward to all the members. So please put a note on your calendar on February 27. Charles and John will compete in the Area 42 contest.
So
Good
was
luck,
that by
gentlemen.
acclamation or was there a, I wasn't here last time. Was there a speech contest? Acclamation.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good luck to these individuals. Charles, good luck. And John, look forward to hearing what they have to say. Any other things that we have before I hand it over to our president for his closing remarks? Over to you, Han, for your closing remarks.
So actually, I have one more announcement. I think some of our members joined Pacific Rim Toastmaster for their mock speak contest. So after that, I'm in contact with their VP Education so we might host a joint meeting. So just want to ask everybody's feedback. Everybody is what okay to have a joint meeting with the other club?
When's the joint meeting, Johan?
Depends. We possibly is on February 22nd, or if all our members are okay with that.
Is this going to be a once a month thing?
No, I think the idea is we will host one joint meeting to see how it goes. If most members from both clubs think it's a good idea, we might do more. If not, we just do one.
A social experiment.
Because I think they also have 7 members.
Randomly assigned or volunteer?
Pardon?
Where?
The roles will be randomly assigned or we volunteer if we have a joint meeting.
Yeah, I think our member will still sign our roles. So,
What if we did it as a grab bag meeting where you assign the roles at the meeting itself? Too much? Okay.
yeah, it might be. At least. So
I think some of them might need a little preparation, like table topics.
True.
You can't exactly do a grab bag for table topics master.
yeah, and also their meeting time is 6:30. I'm not sure if all of us are okay to meet at 6:30, or we should keep our meeting time and ask them to use our meeting time. Does anyone have problem if we meet at 6:30? Just for next on February 22nd.
Oh, I personally think that since we met up with them for their mock contest at 6:30, they can come to us for 7:15 for the next one.
Oh,
Here, I agree with that. They're coming to us. We should go with 7:15, is it?
oh,
I will agree with that as well.
okay.
Since we're hosting it.
No, I'm not sure if we are hosting or they are hosting, I'm still need to talk with them. But I just want to ask all the members permission first if no one is against this idea.
Well, I prefer a little bit later. 6:30 may be a little too early for me.
Yeah, so I will propose then will be 7.
But I might not be here, so I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, whatever you decide, we'll go with that. How's that? Whatever is
However,
decided.
I think at the same time, no matter we have joint meeting or our own meeting, we still need speakers. So please, maybe does anyone would like to speak on next meeting? I can put your name down right now.
How about they email you? Let you know.
Okay.
That way, if you don't show up, you won't go after us.
I don't have a short speech, but I'm willing to do one. If nobody signs up, I can do one as long as 20 to 25 minutes. I highly doubt everybody will want to be staying for that long.
How is your competition speech?
Have your competition speech. Maybe have John Morris do his competition speech too.
Well,
Yes.
maybe some other time, because I wanted to be able to focus on that specifically for the competition. If you can join me around a later hour at another district, you'll have a lot better luck.
Okay.
Whatever.
So as for now, I would like to just call the meeting, February 8th meeting adjourned. And if anyone want to talk more, we can stay after. So Joanne, you are welcome to stay long if you have to ask any question, if you have any. So I call the meeting adjourned.
Yay!
Good night, guys.
Bye, everybody.
TJ or Leah, Yuhan, whoever has access to Basecamp Manager, just wondering, is it still too late to be able to submit a pathways? Since you guys, I know you guys probably don't need it. If you want me to save it for next year, I can save it for next year. You want me to submit it this year, I can submit it this year. Up to you guys.
Can you clarify? So you want to submit a Word
level?
Presentation Mastery Level 4.
You mean
Global.
Club Central? Do you want me to approve first?
Well, I can do it right now. I just got reminded that you guys are giving an award to Sal, which is why.
No, Sal is giving his level 5 to our club.
Yeah, I know. You have a level 4 and you have a level 5 at your club point.
Fantastic.
I'm just wondering if you need a level 4 for extra sake for the next year, or do you want me to just submit it anyways for this year?
I think, let me see. Yeah, I can show you. Yeah, I think after if we got Sal's level 5, we already got those 2 points. So it depends on you. If you want to get it done this year, I can still submit it. Or if you are fine to wait, we can submit later.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'll send you an email. If you don't see an email within me for 1 week or so, then I'll go ahead and save it for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to
Just
you.
save it if you don't need it right now, right? Just keep it in the back pocket.
Okay, TJ wants to save it. So if there's nothing else, I'm signing out. Going once, going twice. See you around, everyone.
Yeah, I'll see you in next meeting.
Yuhan, do we need 2 of the second level pathway?
Pardon?
Because I'm working on one. Probably I can like get it done. And do you need another one? Because right now I have 2 paths. If we need another one, then I can
I
start
think
with.
you haven't even started yet. I checked. I think you haven't on the Basecamp. You haven't done any project yet. Even so, you need to go there and click the.
Yeah, I know. I talked to them and they said I can do it by myself.
Yeah. So you need to do that and complete your level 1 first.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
on base camp. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do so. Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll see you in March.
Oh, you won't. You cannot come next one.
No, I'm a host of one of my air cadets wing. Oh no, it's squadron competition.
So
Because right now everything like in Zoom, we don't need to travel, but we'll have to kind of help them.
for cadets, they're meeting on Zoom.
Yeah, we
Oh.
do a lot.
Oh, so you still do. Are
Okay,
you still
thank you.
okay? So thanks for coming
I'm
tonight.
still looking for judges. Most likely, I will send out all the dates for my wing competition. And then, yeah, because I'm in the national committee right now. So some other squadron across the across Canada might want to get some judges. I'll send out invitation to all of you.
So
What do you need to know to be a judge?
It just judges for almost the same as international speech and our table topics, but the time is a little bit different, the timeline. And by the time that I send out invitation, I'll get all of you the guidelines and score and the marking criteria.
Yeah, I'd be open to that.
Usually there are 8 to 10 cadets of wing competition, which is quite equivalent to our division.
Okay.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
See you.
Hey, Catherine.
Bye.
Is there anything specific you want to talk about?
yeah, I think the other guest, Marcus, he replied me. He said he will sign up as soon as possible as a member. And
Very good.
I thought, yeah, I thought he will attend tonight, but that's it. I need to wait until he send me the money.
Yeah, I know he's probably busy with classes. I left a voicemail for David a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't heard back from him. So maybe I'll try calling him again tomorrow.
Yeah, I sent a bunch of email on the weekend, and I only got reply from Marcus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you. I mean, you should. I think the email that you sent to Rama was a little bit probably too harsh. But yeah. But yeah, it's okay. I'll call her and talk to her, see what she's thinking.
Yeah, but I think we should let guys whoever attend already 3 times, 4 times, let them know they need to be a member if they want to keep coming. Otherwise, it's unfair to other members who pay. And how's your area contest? You need help for your area contest?
I don't know. I haven't started working on it yet. We just finalized the date yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
We're gonna have it March the 6th on Saturday at 10 a.m.
Oh, that's pretty late because the division contest in Division E is on March 6th as well.
The division contest is March 6th?
No, for Division E.
For your division, okay, yeah. Mine's a different division. Yeah, so we have some. I think March 6th was the last day to do our area contest, and that's what I asked the club presidents what date they wanted.
Oh.
And they all kind of voted for March the 6th. So.
Yeah, the area contest is quite challenging to organize. I think compared to division. Because the judges, it's
so you gotta get judges from out of
the area contest.
Oh, okay.
So when I was area director, I think I asked each competing club to send 1 judges. So because you need to have an equal number of judges from each competing club. or you need to have all judges from outside of your area.
Oh, okay. So it's one or the other? It's either
Or-
equal from each competing club, or all of the judges have to be from outside the area?
I think it would be better if you have all judges from outside the area, but it will be quite challenging if you can. Yeah, you need to have at least 5 plus 1 tie breaking. That's 6.
Oh, this is for today's speech.
Yeah, area contact. Yeah, I think it will be ideal if you can get everybody from outside. But just
Okay.
sometimes it's not easy to gather maybe people.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you made friends with people in other divisions?
No, not really.
Wow.
But yeah, I think your area is quite strong. I think it will be.
I think it'll be okay. I got to organize our club for Fraser Heights Cornerstone. I have to organize our club contest. Not for this week, but next week. So that'll give me some good practice on organizing the contest. We have a speech contest and an evaluation contest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
for
then,
the online contest, I think the sergeant around is quite important. You need to. That was sergeant around for club contest.
okay.
Yeah.
One thing that we should start doing for our meetings is after the prepared speeches, like after each speech, give a minute for everyone else to private message or even the general chat feedback for that speaker. So it's like peer-to-peer feedback for that speaker. Give everyone a minute to do that.
Oh, you mean during the regular meeting?
Yeah, during our meeting.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
after the first speech, after the first speaker, give 1 minute to for everyone to message their feedback to that speaker. And then that also gives the evaluator, the actual formal evaluator, it gives them a little bit of time to wrap up their evaluation, and you know what I mean?
Oh, he's having dinner. Hey, TJ, you want to shock the hell out of all of your area for your area contest?
What do you mean?
If you have me as your sergeant at arms, they're going to be like, what the fuck is she doing here? And they're going to be like, gobsmacked.
I can share. We use
Can I
the.
mess with them?
A lot of them really don't like me. You're being really entertaining. I promise to start it off on a really high note if you take me on as your sergeant at arms.